Hello, participants and hackers. How's the evening going so far? Mine's been a pretty good this day. I had a pretty amount of sleep and I just woke up for this host. So my name is Bishrit Pari and I would be your host. And on the behalf of Hack This Fall 3.0 team, I welcome you to the third workshop of a five-part series where we look forward to upgrade your skills and familiarize you with the intricacies of all things technology. Today, we have an interesting speaker with us. We have Ritvi Mishra, a community manager at Blues Wireless, who will be talking about the Create-React app for IoT. I urge all the participants to please grab a pen and paper because I assure you that today is going to be a blast of information. Continuing our streaks of surprises, tweet about this live stream on your favorite socials by tagging us on at HackThisFall and using the hashtag HackThisFall, and we'll randomly select a winner and send them swags. Make sure to tweet about something unique which you liked about this event or something great just that fascinates you. Without any further delay, let me bring Ritvi up for you all. Hey Ritvi,
Hey, Mr. Jeet, how's it going?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Not bad, not bad. I have unfortunately gotten the season flu, so I'm a tad bit down, but super excited. I love talking about IoT, and I think Mr. Jeet we've met in person. I think at Hack the Mountains, and
Yeah,
yes, I'm an IoT freak basically, especially at in-person hackathons.
I could look at the background and could guess from that that yeah.
Yes, that too.
Let's see. Vedant says hello. Rohan says hello. Hey, hey. So, Ritvi, why don't you tell us something about what you're going to talk about today?
Sure. So, oh wow, Nisarg's here from MLH. So, that's great. I love returning hackers. I don't forget y'all, especially if y'all, like follow me on any platform or something. I know. And yeah, it's always great to see familiar names. But so today we're going to be talking about, well, let's be very honest, right? I'm going to be very transparent. This is a sponsor talk, all right? So, of course, I'm going to talk about the product, and of course, I'm going to talk about how it makes your life so easy. But you're lucky because I'm sick, so I'm going to keep it very, very short about the product. And if you all have ever attended any of my streams, I like to keep it very interactive. So that means I'm going to ask a lot of questions. I'm going to pester you all to answer and then actually explain. So, of course, I'll start with a couple of discussion prompts and then I'll tell you how Blues Wireless, which is what the talk is about today, is the Create-React app of IoT. And this is actually a very famous talk that some of my colleagues give at conferences. And the reason I chose to give it here is because I won't be able to show you a hands-on demo today, but I am going to be there at Hang this fall with tons of Blues hardware, and you all know there's a category for it. So the idea behind that category is, if you all want to participate in that category, I'll be giving you out that hardware for the hackathon. And if you all win, you get the prize category, but I'll have to take the hardware away. But yeah, so that's about it today. I'll be there during the hackathon throughout in case you all are doing IoT. No worries if you don't want to use Blues. I love mentoring IoT teams.
Awesome. So, without any further delay, let's bring up your slides then. Uh,
Sounds good. I
all
already have them
right.
checked. Awesome.
And
Cool.
I'll be back. I'll be at the back of the stage. So, stage all yours.
Perfect. Thanks, Ms. Vijit. Ms. Vijit, if you want to participate in the prompts, just feel free to drop in whenever, okay?
Yeah. All right.
Awesome. Great. So I can already see so many people in the comment section. That's awesome. I'm so glad, Tushar, you're excited for the show, the session. But again, I'm fairly sick and I'm going to avoid talking very very against my personality, but I'm going to try and keep it short, okay? So let's dive right in, right? So this is what we're going to be talking about today. Again, this is a sponsor talk, very very honest, right? So I genuinely love my company's products. So I've been talking about them before I started working for them and using them, and I think y'all will have a lot of fun with it as well. Regardless, this is not going to be a very knowledgeable session in terms of actually learning IoT, but I will be throwing out a lot of words. So stick around and ask questions. Okay. Okay, so let me give a quick introduction. Hi, I'm Ritvi. I graduated 6 months ago. I'm gonna keep doing that so that you all don't have to. Oh, so that's here as well. So right, so I graduated 6 months ago. I'm an MLH coach, and I currently manage communities at Blues Wireless, which means I come up with crazy initiatives to make sure you awesome hackers and you awesome, uh, techie folks get a chance to use not just blues but generally get better access to resources without y'all having to spend much or the company having to lose a lot either, right? So that's the basic idea behind my job, and to make sure y'all are heard, of course, right? So what's blues about? So I love to tell this to people because I think it's a very inspiring fact. My CEO is 68 years old, and he started this company. We were barely, I think, 3 years, 4 years old as an entire like registered company, and the product's even younger in terms of how old it. Uh, Hi, Yash. All right, folks. Again, I'm gonna quick disclaimer to people who are joining in late and are so excited. I hate to water down your expectations, but I am very sick, so I'm gonna keep this very short. All right. So he's 68 and he has had an entire company before this company. It's called Belina. So if you all are into IoT, I'm sure you must have heard this name. It's a great company too. And this is the quote by Ray Ozzie, who's our CEO. And he says, complexity kills. It sucks the life out of developers. It makes products difficult to plan, build, and test. The things I want you all to pay attention in this sentence are: first, complexity kills. I think that's my favorite. My favorite quote when it comes to, especially when it comes to entrepreneurship. Complexity kills. Remember, we're not talking about an IoT project, we're talking about an IoT product, right? Finally, as developers, you all are always working on products, and the whole point of blues is not to super skill you overnight. It's rather to make some part of your development so easy that you can focus on your actual product, on its functionality. So, what part do we make easy? We will get to that. No rush on that. Okay. So, this is Scott, and I urge y'all to go look him up. He's one of the sweetest people. He's always there, one of the most active people in our company. So, let's move forward. All right, this is my favorite, always my favorite discussion prompts. I can see a lot of returning hackers in the chat. I see some new ones. So, hi Kriyanshi, hi Vaibhav. Talking knows Yash, so I'm not sure if you've also seen me on the Emulate server. But uh, what's IoT? Let's start with a simple prompt, right? What's IoT? Again, like I said, I'm gonna very much avoid talking and pass on the a bit to y'all. What's IoT? And trust me, if y'all have attended my sessions, I'll wait. I'll wait until y'all answer. So you might as well quickly answer and then we can move forward. Internet of Things. Great, Yash. It is the full form of IoT, yes. But what does Internet of Things mean? Kriyanshi, great answer. The reason I don't say Yash great answer is because I know he knows better. All right, awesome. All of y'all know the full form, Internet of Things. Great. But what? What is Internet of Things? Why Internet of Things? I love the answer, Kriyanshi. Electronic things communicating with each other. I'm so going to use this in my next session. This is such a beautiful answer and so simple. Oh, thanks, Yash. I like the afterthought behind the answer, but that's okay. I mean, we know us, right? I mean, I'm going to talk either way. So, all right, no one answers. I love Kriyanshi's answer. Wow, this is another great answer. IoT aims at establishing and internetworking of all inanimate objects. All right, basically, I'm going to give you a shout out very quickly in the background. Can you highlight the comments I'm reading, please, on the screen? Thank you. Perfect. So, great. That is an amazing answer, and I love how many words you've used here. Inanimate objects. I'm interested. What do you consider inanimate objects? But I like the answer because it's so true. Because like I was just about to ask you if I could add an IoT to it, IoT, uh, network to it, and I answered it myself in my head. I'm like, yes, you can. So that's a great answer. Physical electronics communicating with each other. Another great answer. Thank you, Yash. All right, great. I got some great answers. I won't waste much of your time then. Great. So yes, Internet of Things is that, very simply put, right? Very simply put, Internet of Things is human independent communication of machines or of objects or things rather, right? So that's how you get Internet of Things. Uh, That is so great, okay, that you have IoT as a current semester subject. If you all are going to be at the hackathon, I'm sure you're going to have a blast. But yeah, so human independent communication, right? How do you define human independent communication from, your machines always talk to each other without you helping them, right? You connect your phone with to the computer with a USB. That's them communicating. It's giving you a prompt whether it wants to open, whether you want a default action. It communicated, right? You didn't ask them to communicate. So how is it different from IoT? Anyone? Do you all want to take a wild guess? See, that's the thing. It feels obvious, but in the longer run, the more clarified your obvious concepts are, it helps not just in building the project, but on also debugging. Anyone want to give it a shot? Why? How is it different? Not alive, basically. Okay, that's what you meant by inanimate objects in a circle. I got it. Trust me. I was about to ask you a question. I was like, that's a very good answer. All right, folks, I'm running low on my tea. Don't make me take a break. Come on, quickly. Okay, no one wants to give it a shot. Well, I'll tell you how it's different. It's different because there's no cloud involved. Okay, almost always, right? Almost always, when you are going to have an some machine which set far from us and is operated by us, that is hackathon dinner. I like that is a good answer. That is a very good answer. I love the channel name as well, Hackathon Dinner. I'm gonna go check that out later. Awesome. So yes, right. So that's basically that is amazing. IoT also includes making decisions on the data collected by sensors. You guess, which is a great guess. Usually in my streams, I play this intuition game where I will tell you all to say the first word that comes to your mind when you think of IoT, and I get such beautiful answers. And then we build upon that word. Now, what happens when you do it like that? And this is a great learning technique, by the way, folks. Always do this because it builds your intuition. You already know most of the answers because you live in the world where everything works, and you already see a lot of things happen. It's about connecting those dots, right? So every time you're sitting in a session before that, just ask yourself, okay, what do I already know? What do I already associate it with? And if you especially associate it with something that's more unrelated to it, it's easier to remember. Perfect. That's a great answer, Anshul. So exactly, right? That's what I was just getting at. So Internet of Things is basically there's always going to be a cloud involved. Now that cloud does not necessarily have to be connected to the internet. It can be a rather local cloud like your smart home devices, which can also be connected either to the main cloud or you can create your own local network. But the point is, how will you differentiate Internet of Things to machine communication? The network. There's always going to be a server controlling all of them, right? Hi, Dave. That is another interesting answer, Yash. Thank you very much. But yes, awesome. So that's that. I hopefully that I assume clarifies your thoughts on what's IoT. If you look around now, you'll be able to look at certain device meshes or certain networks and be able to identify whether or not it's an IoT network, whether it's an M2M network, and so on and so forth, right? It's a very interesting topic and I love talking about it, obviously, and I think you'll love knowing more about it once we start getting into the nuances sometime later. But yeah, you should definitely check this out, right? Okay, so take care. IoT needs a cloud, which means there's some form of wireless communication happening, right, at some point. Okay, so all right, why do we bother with cellular IoT? So before that, in case y'all aren't aware what cellular IoT, let me know. I'll explain what cellular IoT, or you'll tell me what you understand by cellular IoT. Let's do that. Okay, so what's cellular IoT, folks? I told you I'm not going to do much of the talking. I'm going to let you all take the patent. All right, no worries. I'll tell you all what cellular IoT, right? So cellular IoT is anything that requires, so right, Internet of Things is two things, right? There's the internet, which is the connection, and the things themselves that make the mesh, right? Next is the actual network, which is connecting all of them, right? Now, this can be anything. Using SIM cards to connect a device to internet. That is awesome. Exactly, Anshul. That is such a good answer. I like how you answered the discussion prompt as well. Correct. Where Wi Fi is not available. But is that it? Is that really where you will use cellular IoT? Just because Wi Fi isn't available? Sorry, folks, give me 1 second. So, is that all? Trying to connect sensors to some type of cellular network that we use in our cell phones. Awesome! Great job. So, y'all both answered what is cellular IoT. Great answers, by the way. Give a pat on your back, both of y'all. Uh, any I don't get the reference, but okay. Great. So, why cellular IoT? Just because Wi Fi isn't available? Hi, Dheeraj. Right? So, okay, let me give you an example, right? You could have Wi Fi available somewhere, but you do not want to use it. Why would you not want to use it? Okay. I know there's a delay, which is why I know you all are answering, but for the sake of time and for my throat, I'm gonna. Is cellular network more reliable, Anshul? Now it is. I'll give you that. I love 5G, but Internet of Things does not work on 5G. It usually uses 2G LTE networks. So, my bad, 2G edge networks. That is great answer, Rishabh. Thank you so much. Yes, because Dave, that's a good answer too. Because it's not us. Yes, you probably don't want to use a Wi-Fi that's not yours. But yes, exactly. You do not want to use a public Wi-Fi, especially if you have a device which is supposed to send critical data. It can be anything. It can be sensitive data in terms of harm to the public. It can be sensitive data in terms like medical data, right? So you want to make sure that it is secure, it is very very personal, and it stays that way, right? Okay, that's one scenario, that you have everything you have in the area, but you still choose to go a private route. Okay, what's the other reason why you would want to use cellular IoT? If let's say I'm just going to quickly tell you what the card in front of you does, right? This tiny card right here, it basically connects you to the cellular network within minutes, right? And more accessible, Anshul, that's a good Aryan, you're very close to the answer. When the distance is more, everyone has a mobile. That's a great question. Yes, everyone has a mobile. But why do they have a mobile? That's a good question. So why does everyone have a mobile when they can have Wi-Fi everywhere? That's a very good thing. So think on those lines, right? Think about products and give me examples of products where you would use cellular IoT. So you all go around the city, there's Wi-Fi everywhere, there's connection everywhere, right? You all still choose to have a mobile phone because it gives you mobility, right? So that's exactly why you want cellular IoT. All right. So what cellular IoT helps is, let's say you have like a huge field, right? Now you want to monitor a lot of things. A lot of the times, if you will see devices, especially projects done, right, when it comes to helping agriculture farmers, they're always Bluetooth or Wi-Fi based. Always. And the problem, while Bluetooth is a great solution when you think about it, okay, you expect the farmer to go around the entire day and connect the data because he's going to go around the farm anyway, which is okay. If the data comes in like once a week or say even once a day, that's doable. But what if this continuous data? Then you have to look at storage solutions, then you have to look at, then you have to study anomalies of the data over a really long time when you do collect it, right? So that is a great answer, Nisar. Yes, that's exactly what IoT does, but that's true for all IoT devices. Mm, that is an amazing answer, Anshul. Exactly, right? Exactly. So let's say you have again the agricultural field, right? And you want critical data at every given point, right? It can be anything. It can be a crop, it can be a storm that you all want to, because of that you want to measure the crop's growth. It can be anything. But the point is you all can then very quickly monitor the continuous data because it's cellular IoT and it's all going to the same cloud. You don't have to worry about individual connections per se, right? That's great. Now, while I say that, I do not want to like completely say that there aren't other methods at all right? A lot of times, you do not want to do that either. One of our own products for that matter, I don't know if you all have heard of LoRa, right? So LoRa is this protocol which basically helps you send out like to distances data over distances of kilometers, right? So if you want to do that, you can still do that. There's LoRa, and there's an entire convention and conference that happens on that. So there are other methods, but the thing with all of these, so with LoRa can communicate with one device to the other device, but you always need a gateway. So one of our products, right, it's called the Sparrow. What it does is amongst devices, amongst nodes, it creates a LoRa mesh. Uh, the LoRa mesh is then there's a gateway node which all the data is sent to finally. So all the data is finally routed to the gateway node, and from that node, it actually connects to the internet and sends it to the cloud. All right. And why I specifically said that is because I wanted to say two things. First, there are protocols that send data over kilometers. LoRaWAN, exactly, Anshul. Our product though uses LoRa specifically. We do not use LoRaWAN. But secondly, the second point I wanted to make was I'm going to get the words. Give me 1 second. Second point I wanted to make was there's always something called a mesh network, right? So regardless of what the protocol is, you can always create a mesh, right? And then finally route it over one node. It all depends on your application, right? It does not always, that's the beauty of IoT, right? IoT is like basically like JavaScript, and why I specifically mentioned the React app, right? Because even though you can use the Create-React app and you can have a website all up and running in like basically a minute, there's still so much that you can do and there's still so many ways you can go, right? So this specific device will basically help you get onto the internet, help you get connected to the cloud in less than a minute. After that, what you do with it, how you use it, the number of them that you use it in a project is all up to you, is all up to your idea. And the application is really quite limitless, as you can tell, right? So one of my favorite client stories, or rather two of my favorite client stories, one of them is actually a tulip farm that uses our product in their, well, it's a prototyping product, right? So it goes in another product finally. So they use it in their monitoring products. And second one is a refrigeration company, and one of the main things that they monitor is whether or not the a refrigerator has been closed. Isn't that cool? It's got such a niche that you can solve problems with. Like, it's got, you can solve niche problems with it, right? So how is IoT used in industries? That is an amazing question, techaholic. So I'm sorry, I'm just looking at chat if I didn't miss any other chat. So okay, industries, IoT is used a lot, but at the same time, the rules for IoT there is different than what you probably see around yourself, right? So there's something called IoT and there's something called IIoT, which is industrial IoT. And the rules and the priorities change, right? For example, my favorite example is your smart light, right? Use your smart light, fancy is the word, right? It's, is it really necessary? Not for most of us, right? Maybe if it's in a hospital, yes, a patient might want to, without getting up or without any disturbance access stuff, then yes, it's a necessity. Regardless, how much of its accuracy do we really depend on? Nothing, right? I mean, you could yell at Alexa, I hope mine does not get activated, and ask it to turn it on 5 times, and even if it turns on the fifth time, you're okay, right? Nothing bad's gonna happen. Yes, you're gonna have a bad experience, but that's more from the company business point of view that's getting affected, right? Nothing else is really getting affected. Industry, you cannot have that, right? Industry, everything has to be dot on time, especially if you're using it in something like a factory, or something in terms of automating some form of process, right? You cannot have that delay, you cannot have that well, next time, right? So the priorities and the stakes change. So if you ever look at IoT being used in industry, you'll notice a couple of things, right? First, it's never used for high stake operations. When I say high stake operations, it means it won't be doing a huge chunk of the work ever, right? It will always be doing these tiny parts in the middle, and it will always be very specific. For example, you all build these amazing projects and hackathons that do this and 100 things, and they do it successfully eventually, right? You will play it, you will play your demo in front of the judge. They'll come. It might not work the first time. That's okay. You'll try the second time, and it's okay. The things will work eventually, and you'll tell them that, okay, yeah, if you were to make a product, but you cannot do that. So here's the thing, right? Here, that's why I'm saying this, is I'm trying to give you an idea for the hackathon that it's okay if your project does something very tiny, like I said, right? It has a niche that it's solving, and it does just that, but it does it so well that it sets the standard. That is how IoT in the industry works. So it'll automate a tiny thing, but the stake will be low. There'll be a lot of circuits. So let's say the circuit is supposed to turn a switch on or start a process. That actual code of starting will be the smallest part of that code. The major code will be error handling, making sure that, if it fails, what are the things being impacted that need to be prioritized. So that's like a very specific application, but it's also very foolproof, right? Makes sense? Techaholic, did I answer your question? In industries, any process you take, it can be automating. So even if like an entire process, I do not know of this, for example, the only thing I can think of a good example is those battery swapping stations that they have, right? I think that's the most complicated use that I've seen being developed. It's still not in India. I know it's there in a couple of other countries. I know it's still not there in India. But that's the most complicated use in the industry per se, right? And it does a lot of things. That battery swap stations, you need to, take it out. It's gonna sense, it's gonna connect to your mobile phone, then you can check the battery level, you can replace the battery, so on and so forth. And having written some part of that code, I can tell you most of the code always focuses on error handling, right? So in industry, even if something bigger is being automated or is being controlled by IoT, remember, if you look closer, you'll see like much tinier parts and much more things handling it rather than one device doing 100 things. And those all little things could be from different companies. It's like your laptop, right? It does a lot of work. So if you ever notice, every little part comes from a different company which has a niche of building that product. Your LCD, your keyboard, your CPU, your GPU, so on and so forth. Makes sense? Did I answer your question, Techaholic? If you're still around, I would be happy to know if I did or not. But yeah, that's the point, right? All right. So I hope I answered or gave you a better insight into one, well, what's IoT if y'all don't know, and why and how you can use cellular IoT, right? And I hopefully inspired some project ideas as well while we're at it. All right, great. So let's move on and let's again, as transparent as I've been since starting. This is a sponsor talk, and I have to talk about my product little. Get you all excited about it. I do love the product, and I would be talking about it regardless of me working there. But I am bringing a ton of hardware, and I would love for you all to be acquainted with it. While we're at it, uh, this specific card that you can see on the screen does have a simulator. So I'm gonna quickly pull up that simulator for you all. Let's see. All right, so I'm sharing a link, and I will let you all play around with it when I share my screen as well. All right, Ms. Vajit, I've shared it in the private chat. I would appreciate you putting it in the comments. All right, awesome. Great, let's move on then. I am going to quickly walk us through the PPT. Now, at this point, if you all have any questions about what we've discussed till now, do let me know. All right, I'm happy to address them one by one. Again, it's a very chill session, and I can understand if you all want me to stop talking at any point given my voice. But we're going to just soldier through another like 10-15 minutes max, and I promise I'll be done. All right. Great. So today's agenda is just this. I won't be giving you the hands-on demonstration because one, I've realized it's very unclear to do it virtually. I've been meaning to set up a streaming camera and everything, but I did not put in that much paint for this session particularly because one, I'm gonna get this to the actual hackathon, and in case you all miss it for whatever reasons, we can do it. We can loop back on this. Y'all can let the hackathon organizers know we loop back, and I'll do it properly once I'm feeling better. Right? Awesome. Let's move on. So, Blues Wireless. I already mentioned our main agenda is to make prototyping easy and hence make the developer's life easy. Right? All of y'all, once you all start working in the industry, you all will not be working on a project. You all be working on products. So you all want to choose stuff that, of course, helps you develop your skills, but also does not let you waste your time on things that probably do not require time, right? Things that can be absolutely the Create-React app, for example, right? So people still use that in the industry, right? Especially when they want to quickly spin up a web page for the product or something. Does that mean that they're not doing the work, or is the developers too lazy? No, it's the starting point, right? It's basically easing a simple or a tiny thing in a huge process, and the same thing is what Blues Wireless is trying to do, right? IoT, like I mentioned right now, and you heard the applications, it is huge, right? How you go about solving a problem, it can be so unique, and someone else can be doing the same thing, and y'all can still both do so well in the market just because of the niche that y'all pick, right? So Blues Wireless basically tries to help your cellular connection make like connecting to the cellular network very easy. Now, if y'all are new to this space, y'all are wondering what's the point. Like, the thing is, connecting to the cellular network is a real pain. So here's what goes behind connecting to a cellular network if you're not using one of these kinds of modules. There are more in the market, yes, but none like this, of course. We have a different niche. And if you do not use, let's say, Blues Wireless Note Card is what we call it, right? So this is the note card, right? This is the note card that I'm talking about, the tiny square in the middle. The reason you know that the note card is making your life easier is because if you go out and you're like, okay, electronics shop, or let's say you go to Google first, right? And you're like, okay, I want to connect with the cellular network. What module do I use? It's going to probably suggest some GSM module. And on that, what you'll have to do is basically you'll have to write 80 commands. All right. And what is 80 commands? 80 commands is basically 80, right? That's the actual command plus the command. Okay. And this command will decide what happens. You have to put in an 80 command for everything. First, switching on the modem. Then, keeping the modem on, or do you want it to turn off after the connection? Third, finding the network. You also have to add your SIM card to the GSM module or the GPRS module that you're using. Add your SIM card. Then ask the AT command to connect to the network. Same. Siddharth remembers using 80 commands in 2019. He'll know the pain then. I wish he would be here to, give the testimony on how much of a pain it can be. Right? Now remember, these are just commands. You do not know whether they've been successful. So when you're writing code, remember you can't just put 80 command and then sit back, right? Your code should be doing all of this on its own. So initially, yes, you can send a serial command and check. If you're not doing that, like if your code's doing that, remember it needs these loops where it's sending a command, then waiting for its success. Now there are multiple ways to check that. There is sometimes acknowledgement sent back. Sometimes you just run another AT command, see if that's giving an acknowledgement, right? After you get this right is when you can connect it to cellular network. Nothing else you've done. Okay, if you've connected a GPRS module to your controller, you've sent out serial commands. First you tested the controller with the GPRS module to see if the module was working. Then you just sat down, tested the order of the commands. Now once you have the order of the commands, you're writing code to do it automatically, so that you don't have to be there to obviously, right, it's a product, you cannot always be there at the installation and see, okay, it's not connected, so automatically connect. So this is almost 12 hours, nothing less, and all you've done is gotten connected to the cellular network. That's how much painful connecting uh traditionally can be, right? So what Blues Wireless is doing is we're making your life easy, right? Making wireless IoT easier for all developers and more affordable for all. Now, the whole affordable thing is more relevant in the business context. The hardware costs $100. I don't think it's affordable, and I don't think you should either. Uh, I have other programs in the mix which make sure that you all get the hardware without you all having to buy it, but all in good time, right? So, right, let's move on, right? We're making again sponsor talk. Hear me out, right? I believe it. You'll believe it after you use it. Easy for developers and affordable for all, more or less. Securing your data from device to cloud. So this module, right? It actually has a hardware encryption module. What it does is it sends all the data to our proxy, and to the proxy. It will always send it to the proxy. Okay, it won't send it anywhere else, and it'll send it to the proxy via the hardware encryption module, right? So it is super secure, right? It's very cool. The module uses an ST chip. Again, if you're not familiar, ST chip is an ARM chip, and they're some of the most amazing power consumption devices. When I say amazing power consumption, I mean that they're really great when it comes to low power mode, right? They consume current in microamps, milliamps with so much circuit on it, but still, that's a lot, very less power, right? Uh, we provide an unmatched developer experience where I'm going to be coming to y'all to make sure you all have fun using it. And yep, let's quickly talk about the note card. Okay, I'll talk about them one by one, right? So yes, it has a low power system on modules. Apart from, of course, it being an SD chip, we also have a module that helps it consume even lesser power, right? You see two chips on the screen. One is black, one is green. The black one is the Wi-Fi card, which is what I'm going to encourage you all to prototype with, because the green one requires AT&T network or a 2 year super SIM. In case you all end up using whichever, uh, I'll be there to help you out. All right. It has GPS on the green card, not on the black card because it's Wi-Fi. So this chip, right? It actually comes with an embedded SIM card, and that SIM card already has like 500 MB cell data plus 10 years of service, right? So again, not very useful if you do not have a global product, but something to keep in mind, right? It has a JSON based API. This is my favorite point. Okay, so basically, your entire connection, right, to get connected to the cellular network with your microcontroller, the first 10 minutes, you don't need to download anything. We have an web REPL on our website, the site that I just shared, and it all works through JSON, right? You just send one JSON command and it's connected to your project, right? Now, it's not that fast, of course, but it can be depending on how well you use it, all right? Next, because it's JSON based API, you can use it with Python, Go, Arduino, CCBP. We also have an SDK that we're developing to go with certain projects like Zephyr, uh, Yocto project. These are all RTOS projects in case you all are interested, right? And again, the last line is true for the green cards. They have a marking on them, and nice pun, Nisarg. I like the example. Yes, but you need to understand that's only true in India. People don't consider Mac that expensive outside, which is just so sad. But yes, so every green card comes with a label on it, and it will tell you what it connects to. Ideally, in India, we'll always use an external SIM card, but that's just nitty gritty details we'll worry about later, right? Now remember, right? Any of your microcontrollers, right? Arduino, ESP32, they're not microcontrollers. They're evaluation kits. Your microcontroller is that tiny, ugly part in the center, right? In the Arduino, it's the black ant like chip, centipede like chip. In ESP32, it's the silver thing. It looks slightly better than Arduino, I agree. Right? So that's the microcontroller. Same way, this note card is actually your main uh, resource, or the main thing that you're talking about. So if you see, the card alone comes with an M2 connector. But Arduino and ESP32 are evaluation kits, right? They basically draw out some of the capabilities for you to test. And then if you actually make a product with it, you then only make the circuit board and add the tiny microcontroller bit, the silver or the black bit only, not the evaluation bit, right? Similarly, the note card also has something called the note carrier, which comes along with it for you to be able to, nicely extract all its capabilities, right? So so there we have carrier boards. So you add the note card onto the carrier board, and there are different carrier boards depending on the application, right? So we have a pipe hat, we have a F carrier, which is what you see on the side. Then there's the A carrier, this is the A carrier, right? So there's different forms and factors, right? This is the F carrier that I just spoke about, right? So just different forms and factors. So the F carrier you can see is the feather carrier. You can straight away insert any other microcontroller you want, like a feather Haza or such, right? So these are the different boards and the note hub. So like I said, right, all your data when you once connect to the web REPL is sent to the proxy. The proxy is called the Note Hub, right? So the Note Hub basically is what routes your data, right? Remember, I never said Note Hub is our cloud. Note Hub is our proxy. It's basically going to help you. So Blue's note card specifically comes with the tagline, connect any device to any device, right? And the Note Hub is basically a proxy. What we expect you to do is first when you connect your note card to any system, you dump all the data to note hub. Okay, from there you can route it to anywhere you want, right? So route data to any cloud app, anything that can consume a REST API, you can send data to with note hub, right? You can manage fleet devices. Basically, this is your dashboard that you can see all your note cards on. So you can have one project can have multiple cards, you can have multiple projects, and you can also have fleets in a project, right? So for example, let's say you're tracking something like trucks, right? And every truck has two note cards sending you different types of information, and you have like fleets of trucks, right? So you can actually make all of those unique groups on the dashboard. OTA updates, basically over the air updates and firmware updates. That means you can update your card no matter where it is, right? Secure communication, we spoke about the hardware encryption module. And this is how basically your connection map will look like, right? So you can have fleets, you can have this is secure data, and basically from Note Hub you can send it. You can also send it back to the Note card. So from Note Hub, if you want to send some data back to the Note card, you also use the Note Hub there, right? This is an example of how simple it is. This is the command that you put. It's a JSON command. You send it serially. It by default connects over I2C, but you can send it over serially as well, and you get the response almost immediately, right? Outbound communication. So from the MCU to the cloud, you can imagine you have the MCU, you send JSON. Because it's JSON, it's language independent. Uh, Cellular, Wi-Fi, so it connects to the cellular network. It connects, it gets dumped into hub.io. From hub, you can send the JSON anywhere you want, right? Then there's inbound communication, like I mentioned. So you have the cloud, you send the JSON to Blue's wireless node hub. It will then use cellular data, or rather, it will send it use the internet to send it to the node card, which is connected via cellular data. It will then send the JSON back to the controller. The controller will then use some form of JSON library to decompile the message, right? Awesome. That is a lot of product information. It does not have to mean a lot to you. Y'all can go on the website that I just sent, and if you connect, click on the disconnected black tag on the website and get connected. There's a simulator there that you can try out, and the quick start's very easy to follow. But in case y'all are not coming to the hackathon and still want to try it out or want to see how it works, right? So these are some tutorials which I'll be sharing again at the hackathon. So y'all can take inspiration from and follow for specific features. But y'all can go and have a look at the different projects that people have created. But if you are still interested in getting some your hands onto the Blues wireless hardware, we have something called the most valuable Hackster program. So if you go on Hackster and go to Blues Wireless and search for it, you can actually enter an idea you have with hack the hardware, and if some of the people in the company like your idea, they'll actually send you a discount code to get the hardware, right? And yep, go to this website if you have any questions, or what all you can actually do with the hardware. And yeah, this is something if for Python enthusiasts, if you all want to see how you can use Python, socket Python specifically with blues, and prepare yourself beforehand. All right, folks, that is all. I am so glad to be stopping. Really, yes.
All right. So we do have some time for some couple of questions. And
Awesome.
yeah,
Great.
we also have a price tag for the best hardware hack using blues, of course.
Oh,
And
hi, Tithi. No worries. You'll get to interact with me sooner or later. I knew you would love that, Yash. I'm so glad you would, Anshul. I hope you're coming to the hackathon. I think we have, I don't remember the exact metric me and Siddharth decided, but I think we're going to have at least 10 teams worth of hardware. Teams worth of hardware. So, yes. I mean, if y'all have the resources, y'all can go ahead and buy it. I'm trying to make this hardware available in a way that y'all can access it in the labs nearby, but it's going to take a while before I can get it available everywhere. Oh, the QR code in front of in the screen is actually a 15% discount code. So if you all want to go ahead and scan it, again, totally your choice. Thank you, Yash. I will take care. Thanks, Tithi. Thank you, Siddharth. Yes. I love talking. I told you, right? I mean, I can only think about not talking.
but it didn't feel right. Watching it today means you had a very bad health and you still gave a fantastic
And I
session.
hope you
I
enjoyed
was like,
nonetheless.
it was interactive quite means I really got to know more about IIT today than I had ever in my all 3 years of my college life.
Great. So next time I see Biswajit in an in-person hackathon, I'm going to basically pester him to do an IoT project, not app, right?
Okay. Definitely, definitely. How about Apprite and IoT both?
We'll see.
We'll
We'll
see,
see
okay?
how we're feeling about Aditya. We'll see. But yes, Siddharth, can't wait to see you in person either.
Um, I think we have a question here.
No, it's just an idea and I love it. Yes, Pratham.
Ah,
Again, just putting it out there. I'm sure you can build all the features that you're talking about. Keep it simple, right? Thanks, Aman, for turning up. That is fine, Pratham. Feel free to discuss it with me, especially if you're at the hackathon. Just wait out a week. I'm not going to reply to anyone for a week, but in a week, yes. I agree with the Indian numbers. They're always overcrowded.
metros are also overcrowded too.
Yeah, I heard. So Mumbai recently launched two of its lines, and people initially were very happy, and suddenly the taxi and the auto rickshaw people are very upset. I'm like, now you get free roads. Enjoy. Awesome, Pratham. I'll see you at the hackathon indeed.
Seems like we do not have any more questions, so I guess this is it. Thank you so much, Ritvi, for hosting this amazing session. And
No worries. I'm glad I could interact with you all one, like precursory before the hackathon. It's going to be so much fun.
I wish I could see you in person, but yeah, uh, my university had different plans for the exam, so maybe next time.
Some other hackathon. I
Yeah.
go to hackathons. You'll see me sooner or later, Biswajit. No worries.
All right, then I guess it's time for to take off. Thank you so much, Ritvi, again. And
No worries. Glad I could be here.
and thank you in the audience for everyone for joining today. I hope you gained something interesting. Means I hope Ritvi helped you gain an inside amount of knowledge about means how you could get started with IoT and could give you add a curiosity to it means what you could build with it. Next tomorrow we have another session with another amazing speaker. Till then, sayonara. See you today and have a great day, night. All right. Bye bye.
Bye, folks.
Bye bye.